Camera number 193 of 365 is the Praktica B200 electronic, and as the name suggests, it requires batteries to operate, although it does have a manual shutter speed of probably a hundredth of a second, 90th of a second, something like that. But otherwise, if we want to use the camera in all its glory, we need to place a 6-volt battery into the battery chamber. There we go. It does show on the lid of the camera, of the battery compartment, which orientation, positive, minus. And then once we've got that in, the camera can be used in either automatic mode, which is a aperture priority mode, or we can go fully manual. And looking through the viewfinder, we get our shutter speeds down the right hand side here. So in automatic it shows which shutter speed the camera is choosing, and then if we go into manual mode, it will show us our suggested, or we can deviate from that. Also looking through the viewfinder, we see aperture, which is nice. So that's made available because of this little window in the front here. And so we can really immerse ourselves in our photography. It's quite a bright viewfinder, so we can see shutter speed and aperture without having to take our eye away from the viewfinder. While we're on the top, we have our film rewind. Now with this one, I have to actually physically move it back. It should spring back, I think, but for some reason it doesn't. We also have our film counter and shutter actuation. And then our film speeds go from B through to 1,000th of a second, with a separate one for flash, and then automatic, which as I mentioned is aperture priority. Then we have our hot shoe, a battery check, and then a lock for exposure compensation, which allows us to rotate our dial minus, plus 2. And then if we lift the collar, we can also choose our film speed. And then lifting the rewind crank itself allows us to open up our film chamber and then either take our film out or put it in. Notice the skin of the camera is this bobbly effect. It is actually quite comfortable, I must say, when holding the camera. So moving round to the front, it features a Praktica mount, which we take our lens off by pressing the button, and we can see our lens. This particular lens is a Pentacon Praktica 2.4 50mm lens. And then just to the right of that we have our self-timer, which has its own button, and you'll notice it keeps the mirror down during the duration of the self-timer, only lifting the lens up when it comes to the end. And then we have a preview button, which you can see the mechanism there, which obviously links up with the aperture control there. Just on the other side of the lens, the lens mount is our flash synchronization, mention our battery port, our provision to add a motor wind, and then our button that allows us to disengage our film advance and then rewind our film back on, and then tripod mount. And that's it. So that has been camera 193 of 365.